I will be doing a quick tank review for the Japanese tech tree. The Tier 5 Premium Medium Tank, the Type 3 Chinukai. The Chinukai is the exact same tank as the Type 3 Chinu. The only difference between these two is the paper stats, and the Chinukai have a Chito turret which gives it more armor. The Chinukai, as it is a premium medium tank for the Japanese, you can train all of your Japanese medium tank crew in the tank. Right now, I have my Tier 9 Type 61 tank crew in it. My Type 61 crew covers the gunner, the commander, the driver, the loader. The downside to the Tier 8 tank onward is that there is no radio operator. The radio operator position is combined with another role in the tank. If you do use tank crews from Tier 8 onward, you have to use a radio operator from one of your other tanks or just recruit one. The the tank is a pretty good moneymaker if you know how to use the tank properly. Throughout my Japanese grind from Tier 2 to Tier 7, I used the Chinukai a lot as a moneymaker and to work on my crew at the same time. In the right hand, I know how to use the Chinukai, know how to use the low alpha gun, which have a good rate of fire and accuracy, know where to shoot at and aim at. They can make this tank work for them. Do remember that this is a premium tank that you have to spend real cash or in-game gold. If you do plan to purchase this tank with in-game gold, you have to spend 1,500 in-game gold or the equivalent price in the in-game shop to buy it with real cash. The way how you would play the Chinukai. This tank is based on the Chinu. You will be using this tank in the same fashion as the Chinu pretty much. The only difference when it comes to play style between the Chinukai and the Chinu is that as the Chinu Kai have the Chito turret, you can actually get in a hold down position to hide as much of the hull and show the turret armor, while you are in the front line or in the rear supporting your team. Let's get to the exterior view now to show you how good and bad the armor can be. The armor on the Chinukai hull, it is pretty bad. It has the exact same hull armor as the Chinu. Most tank guns will penetrate the hull, front, side, and rear overseas. If you do plan to use the Chinukai turret armor, try to get in a hold down position as much as possible to try to hide as much of the hull armor as possible. The front hull armor is 50 to the front, 25 to the side, 20 in the rear. The engine department in the rear of the hull and to the rear of the tank can be damaged pretty easily. If the engine is set on fire, it have a 15% of it being set on fire. I never had a problem with the Chinukai engine being set on fire. it's always a good idea to have a fire extinguisher on most of your tanks just in case if the engine is set on fire. The turret armor is pretty good on this tank if you use it correctly. The gun mantlet, it is 150 millimeters. That 150 millimeters of armor include the space armor as well. The front armor, on paper it says it is 75, but if you angle the front armor and the sides combined, you can actually have a total of 115 millimeters of armor. The side, it is 50 millimeters of armor, but it has some angling. From time to time, if you angle the turret side armor to the left or to the right, you may be lucky to get a few ricochets from time to time. Do not count the side armor to ricochet most of the round for you. The side armor is pretty thin. Most guns can penetrate it with ease. The rear, it is 50 flat. Most tank guns in the game can penetrate that with ease. The weak areas, if you really have to know where to shoot at the Chinukai for the weak spots, the weaker spots are the cupola, the top of the tank roof, the lower glacis plate, the driver's hatch, the machine gun port, and the door, the hatches or the doors in the front of the hull heel. The Chinukai, the modules for the tank can be damaged pretty easily. The crew, they can be knocked out pretty quickly. So it's very important to keep the fires out, have a fire extinguisher, a repair kit to repair any essential modules that you need, such as the engine, the gun, the ammo rack, tracks, etc. The first aid kit is very important to get your crew members back into action. Do remember that all Japanese tanks in the game do not love howitzers that fire HE at them, from the side or to the rear. Howitzers that fire HE from the side or rear will more than likely one-shot any Japanese tanks in the game. Let's get to the stats of the Chinukai now. I will be comparing the Chinukai and the Chinu stats side by side. Let's get to that now. As I mentioned, the Chinukai and the Chinu, they are pretty much the exact same tank. They will share most of the same stats. The hit points, they're the same. The load limit, the Chinukai weighs more, 2 tons more, due to the Chito turret that it has. The engine horsepower, it is lower on the Chinukai. The Chinu have a 300 horsepower engine when it's fully upgraded. These engine will affect the horsepower to ton ratio. The Chinukai horsepower to ton ratio, it is 11.08 horsepower to 1 ton. That is not bad, or it is not that good either. The horsepower to ton for the Chinu, which is better, it is around 15 horsepower to 1 ton, which make the acceleration speed for the Chinukai better. The top speed, it is 38.8 kilometers per hour. This 38.8 kilometer can be reached pretty easily if you are going straight on flat terrain going one way. If you turn left to the right suddenly, you will slow down pretty quickly. You will also reach the 38.8 kilometer mark pretty quickly if you are going downhill as well. The whole traverse speed, it's almost the same. The Chinukai is just slightly better at 38. The Chinu whole traverse speed is 34. Slightly worse, but they're the exact same pretty much. The whole armor for both of the tanks is the exact same. The turret armor on the Chinukai, it is better when it comes to the front of the Chinukai turret, side and rear. The Chinu have worse turret armor in the front, side and rear. The gun on this tank is pretty much the exact same as it would be on the Chinu. The gun depression on the Chinukai is slightly worse than the Chinu. The gun depression on the Chinukai, it is 6 degrees downward, while the gun elevation, it is 20 degrees upward. The gun depression on the Chinu, it is 10 degrees downward, which is pretty good, while the gun elevation upward, it is 25 degrees. The gun accuracy, it is pretty good at point 37. 9 out of 10 shots, if you fully aim, you are most likely going to hit. The rate of fire, it's pretty good. You have 12 rounds per minute. The accuracy and the rate of fire, it's same for both. The gun damage and the penetration, it is adequate at this tier. The third traverse, it is lower on the Chinukai at 30. The Chinu have slightly better traverse speed for the turret at 36. The view range is the exact same on both, 350. This is where the radio range becomes pretty important. On the Chinukai, with my current setup, I have binoculars. The problem with the radio when I have the binoculars attached is that with the binocular telescopes activated, I can only see up to 400 meters. With my modules I have, it is 426. So if anything is past the 426 meter mark, I have to relocate to shoot at anything that is past my 426 radio signal range. While on the Chinu, when I have binocular telescopes, I can just stay where I am and shoot up to 450 meters, or up to 550 meters. Overall, both of these tanks are pretty much the exact same. Let's get to the research for this tank, as it is a premium tank. The research for the Chinukai, as this is a premium tank, there is no equipment that you have to research. So you can have the Accelerate Crew training box checked. The equipment that you will find on the Chinukai, the gun on it, the Type 5, is the top gun on the Chinu. The radio and the engine, you can find it on the Chinu as well. The only equipment that you will not find on the Chinukai would be the turret and the tracks. Let's get to the pros and the cons for the Kai now. The pros and the cons for the Kai. This is a Tier 5 premium tank that does not get preferred matchmaking. You can get yourself into Tier 6s and 7 matches. Most of the time, I got myself into Tier 6s and 7 matches. When you do get to be top tier in a Tier 5 match, when you're top tier in a Tier 5 match maximum, you can do quite well in the match if you know what you are doing. Most of the time, when I am using the Kai, when I am top tier in a Tier 5 match, I usually get in the top 8 damage dealers on the team. The play style for the Kai, it is just like the You will be a sniper, as a support tank, and as a flanking tank as well. If you know what you are doing and have past experience as a frontline brawler, you can use the Kai effectively as a frontline brawler if you know what you are doing in the first place. Some of the pros for the Kai gun is that the gun on this tank, it is pretty good. You have a good rate of fire with a moderate average pen and damage per shell, which can accumulate quite quickly over time if you get your rounds to penetrate. The gun is pretty accurate at .37. 9 out of 10 shots, if you fully aim, you can hit your designated target, unless if they ricochet or miss. The turret armor in the front, it's pretty good. The front armor, if you use it properly, you can have over 100 millimeters of armor if you know what you are doing. That armor would be the equivalent to like a Tier 5 heavily armored vehicle like the AT2 or the KV1 if you know what you are doing. Except it's at the turret only, not in the hull. This tank is a pretty good crew trainer for your medium tanks as well. If you know what you are doing, the Kai can bring in a lot of money at Tier 5 if you know how to use it properly. Some of the cons for this tank. It is big, sluggish, and slow. Oddly enough, if you are going in a straight line, you can reach the 38.8 kilometer mark pretty quickly. The maneuverability, it is okay, as this is a big, tall tank. You have to get the tank hull down as much as possible. Try to hide as much of the hull armor if you want to use the turret armor to your advantage. This tank, except for the turret, this tank have bad armor everywhere else except for the turret. The premium AP pen, it is not that much better. The hull armor, it's pretty bad, but you would have gotten used to that by now if you've been playing Japanese tanks so far. Let's get to the modules and the consumables when it comes to using the Kai. The consumables that you want to be using on the Kai. It would be a first aid kit to treat your crew member injuries, the repair kit to repair module damage, the fire extinguisher to put out fires. The equipment that I have mount on this tank. It is a gun rammer to decrease my loading time by 10%. The vents have a side effect of improving the tank performance by a little bit, decreasing the decrease the loading time, and increase the view range by a little bit. The main effect, it increases your crew performance by 5%. This applies to all of the crew members and their skills. The binocular telescopes, when I am stationary to activate them, I have the permanent maximum view range when they're activated. Unfortunately, I can only see up to 426 meters for what I can shoot at. Anything past 426 meters, I have to move to shoot past that. The ammo layout, I went with 80-ish non-premium AP rounds and 20% HE rounds. The standard armor-piercing round, it have more than enough penetration for most of the tanks that you're going to be facing off with. You just have to make sure to know where to shoot at, and you will be fine shooting regular AP rounds. It is a good idea to use the premium AP round from time to time if you want to, but it is up to personal preference. If you do plan to use the premium AP, you get the same damage as the regular AP, but with a slight boost in the penetration. The cost for the premium ammo is 7 gold or 2,800 in-game credits for one shell. The HE, it's always good to have just to do a little bit of module damage or just a little bit of damage on the side if you cannot pen a vehicle. HE shells will always do damage if you can hit something, even if it's a few hit points off there and there. Those little bit of hit points taken off do add up in time. With the ammo, the module, and the consumables taken care of, let's get to the replays now for the Chinukai, so I can show you how well I did in the Chinukai. You may learn a thing or two how to use the Chinukai properly. Let's get to them now. This replay, I am in a tier 6 match with a platoon mate, Deerman, from the same clan as me. Right now, I am just having a look at where I am needed the most. Seeing the team going to the right side and to the hills, I decided to go to the one line. I am just checking to the left and to the front of me just to make sure there are no light tanks that could get to the E line by now. Seeing there are no light tanks by the E line now, I advanced to some cover uphill. My team have encountered the enemy team now. Seeing the Covenanter, I missed my first shot. Got a shot on it. Right now, I am being very careful to poke out that I am poking out, just trying to get a clear shot to kill the Covenanter. Seeing the Covenanter is dead, I am just being careful now, just to make sure that there are no enemy tanks up ahead. If there is a group of tanks down this road, they could tear me to pieces if I am not being careful. Let me just speed up the match a little bit. Seeing the Allied team in the hill area there. Seeing the Allied team advance in the middle there, I got to this rock here for cover. I don't know where the Achilles shot me from. I got my shots on the Black Prince as it was going downhill. There's a M3 Lee up ahead of me. Also a Achilles. That's where the Achilles was. I used my good rate of fire gun to knock out the N3 Lee. I use the N3 Lee here as some extra armor, just in case if the Achilles shoot at me. Being very careful as I advance to have the shot on the Achilles there. Unfortunately, the Decker Max killed the Achilles. I tried to get my shots lined up on the T-34-85. I have no luck with that. This is where I began to gradually go to their base. Seeing they have a TD, I went to the low grounds here to get out of their line of sight and use the terrain here as extra protection as I advance. In the open here, if the Nashorn was paying attention to me, it could have had one shot at me. Seeing the Allied team is pushing to the Nashorn location, I fired on the Nashorn from behind this rock here, feeling pretty comfortable that I can handle the Nashorn on myself now, as it is low on health. I missed my shot, tried to line up the second shot in hope of killing the Nashorn. I am being very careful trying to get out of sight of the gnat's horn view. I try to get in the road, in the terrain there in front of me there for cover if the gnat's horn did shot at me. Unfortunately, I got killed. I did not too bad in this replay. I did about 820 damage, which is okay. Let's get to the next replay now. This replay, I am top tier in the match here. I will show you how to use the Jinukai when it is top tier. I am facing between tier 3 to tier 5. Most of these tank guns have below 150 millimeters of average AP pen. I do not need to worry about most of these tank guns, as they cannot pen me. Most of the tier 3s and 4s, they have less than 150 millimeters of average AP pen. If they hit my hull, they can pen it with ease. If they hit the turret, it is most likely going to ricochet. The tier 5s there, they can penetrate my hull and turret with ease if they have their top gun equipped. Right here, I am getting into the little ditch here to only show my turret armor. My turret, it is where the most of the turret armor is. That PZ4D, he hit my turret as I was using the terrain to my advantage and the good turret armor. I actually had more than 100 millimeters of armor, so the PD4D ricocheted. It is very important that you use the terrain to your advantage to increase your armor thickness even more, even if it's like by a little bit. The T1 Heavy there, his shots are getting closer. That T1 Heavy, it landed a pretty lucky shot just in the gun mantlet area there. I am pretty lucky there that the T1 Heavy there, it did not knock out my gun as well. I tried getting the last two shots on the PD4D and the T1 Heavy before I moved. I see that I have backup. With the backup moving forward, I went to a better spot to get my shots on the PD4D here. With the PD4D dealt with, I took via low tier. Seeing the Churchill 1 moving, I aim my gun at it. The Churchill 1. If you do face it, this tank have no gun mantle at all in the front. So you can pun the tank front and side of the armor with ease very much. Just shoot anywhere at the Churchill 1 turret and you will most likely going to pen it. This T1 heavy, I try to move forward to get the last shot on it. Unfortunately, the M37RD there killed it. Seeing there's a TD on the map there, I am being very careful as I advance forward. Knowing that TD, it can be on the other side of the ratio in less than a minute. I tried to get a shot on the SU-5. I got one shot. Not paying attention at the map when I was shooting at the SU-5, I did not see the TD there moved. Fortunately, I got the last shot on it. The PD-3 and the AMX 13AM, the team is running to base to get the last 2 kills before the game ends. I did not that bad here in this replay. I did pretty good in this replay. I did about 1,200 damage, which is not too bad for a low alpha damage gun. Let's get to the next replay now. This replay, I will show you how you can use the G-Nukai turret armor when you're in a good hold down position. I am going to the valley here. I am just going to speed up the time a little bit to make sure get to the position where I'm going to be. I am going to use the rock ahead of me as cover. It seems the M5A1 did a suicide scalp one. I tried getting a third shot on the T-34, missed. This ridge line here that I am crossing, the only thing that the T-34 sees is my turret and a part of my chassis. That's it. The T-67 hit me. I am being careful when I am poking over. Things are looking good for us in the city. Things have changed for us in the city here. In the city there. The M7 he charged thinking he could get the rest of his team to do a charge with him. I almost got a third shot on the Crusader there. The KV-1 there is on the ridge line there. He was about to fall backwards, but got killed by our arty. I am being careful right now, making sure the path is clear. The KV-1 unfortunately got killed. I am falling off of their radar now. I was just spotted. I got off their getting off their radar now. Spotted it again by that T-67. I got the finishing blow on the T-67 there. This B1 here. The B1 have some pretty good armor at tier 5 matches still. Missed the capitalized shot there. Seeing the ledge there, I thought I could retreat backwards to get a clear shot on it. My shell missed and went into the KV-1 chassis. I am using the dead chassis in the middle here as extra armor. I got that B1 shell. It ricocheted off of my turret top or side there. As I mentioned earlier, using the Nukai turret properly, you can ricochet a lot of rounds. I am having no luck with this B1. I got a ricochet off of the gun mantlet from the N3 Lee there. I am being very cautious now. Seeing the Stroke 3 there handles the N3 Lee by itself. Seeing what is left on the map, the Churchill at the city and the arty probably at the red base somewhere. Me and this Stroke 3, we went to do a base push. Let me just speed up. The birch gun there. It is going to be killed by the SU-85I. It was a shame that I couldn't get to the birch gun location to get the last kill there. I did not too bad in this replay. I did about 1,200 damage in the Chinukai. I also ricocheted a lot of rounds. Let's go to the garage now to do a recap. Let's do a brief recap on the Chinukai. The Chinukai is a good average tier 5 medium tank to use. In the correct hands that know how to use the Chinukai, the low alpha damage gun, knowing where to shoot and aim at, they can rack up the damage pretty quickly if they know where to shoot at. This tank is a pretty good tank to train your Japanese crew members for the medium line from tier 3 to tier 10. This tank is a good moneymaker as well. This tank is a keeper for me for some major reasons. I am good in this tank. I made a good amount of money while I was using the Chinukai, while I was going down the Japanese tech tree, and I got some very good crew while I was working on them in the Chinukai. This tank I would recommend it to anyone that want to have a premium tank trainer for their medium tank crews while they are going down the Japanese medium tank tree line between tier 2 to tier 10. If you use this tank between tier 2 to tier 10, by the time that you get the STB unlocked and purchased and use this tank as a trainer, you should have a very good crew if you use this tank as a trainer. Do remember that you have to purchase this tank with endgame gold or with real money. Good luck on the battlefield, everyone.